Hello everyone, this is General Hand Grenade. Welcome to my war room in Prince George, British Columbia. Okay, so today we are building a French army. Now, the French army, this is not easy to do, um, just because there's not very many options, and because for somebody who hasn't played this game like me, I don't know what type of a role they're going to play in this game. Like when you get your Axis and Allies pieces, they don't give you many of them because first thing that happens is the game is Paris gets taken over and France's money gets taken away from them, and 99% of the time they don't get it back. Like they never play a role in Global 40. So there's not many pieces in the Axis and Allies game, and they didn't even spend a lot of time giving you pieces for that one. As you'll see when I show you the pieces, they give you Russian pieces that are painted in, or not painted, but printed in blue plastic, and they're not even French pieces, right? So the options are limited. But let's I'll take you through some of the options first. So you got your Axis and Allies pieces, and that will give you most of the stuff that you need. And then one of the things you're going to need to do here, I'll show you. You go to Battle Markers and Tokens, and then go down to World War II, and then go to France here. Okay, so now you're going to need some of these roundels. Now you can either get the cardboard roundels like this, or you can get these roundels. There's the nice ones, and I've got those. I'll show you those in a minute. Like here, you get 10 a piece of these, and they're $6 for each of them. Or this for $3, you can get 20 of them in the cardboard. But you're going to need those. And plus, I have this roundel down here, the Foreign Legion roundel, because they have colonial infantry, much like the Commonwealth did. So, okay, that's one place you can go to. Another place is into the sale bin, like we've been doing. And what I've done partially, like there's these pieces here, the neutrals. And so I filled my neutral armies with these, but I've also had pieces left over. So as you'll see when I show you, I'm using these trucks, I'm using some of these artillery, I'm using one of these, I'm using some tanks for the French. And what else do we got here? Oop. Okay, then there's also in the battle pieces section, you can go to France, and there's these pieces. But you'll find though that quite often these are sold out as well, because like I said, there's not many options for the French, and so for that reason it's hard to find them. Like let's just check any one of them here. What's this? A Stuart light tank. Let's see if the blue is in. See, look at the blue is out, and then there's light blue. You could get light blue, but light blue probably isn't going to match your pieces very well. So that's the problem with that, right? But what I did, because I paint my pieces, now I got those like in the sale bin. I got those. Where are they here? These things here. I don't think you need a full one like here. Oh, look at that! You can get a French one out of here. That'll give you just about everything you need. You know, I never even thought about that. So there you go. You could go here and get a set of these, as long as they last anyway. I don't know that they'll keep restocking them. And then another place you can go to is the 3D section. So like you're in battle pieces and you go to the 3D shapes, right? You go to France, and there's a few things in there, you know, battleships, and I'm using this heavy tank here. But again, quite often these things are out of stock, right? French pieces are usually out of stock. And then the last place you can go to, where are we here? I think you have to go to all of them. So you go to by country, and then by country, and then view all, and then just keep scrolling down until you get to the base set. See these base set here. So you got your mountain infantry. You can get some militia. That'll give you some more sculpts. And then you get those airborne sculpts, and then you just need something for Marines. Anyway, and plus you can get your cavalry here, and if you wanted to, you could get your torpedo boats and your coastal submarines there, and the factories, of course, coastal guns. I showed you my coastal guns the other day in combat miniatures, but you can also get them here, right? I'm not sure how many coastal guns you're going to need, so I can't tell you what to get for those. Anyway, let's go take a look at the pieces that I've got here. So I'm going to have to be set up too close to me, I think, this time. Okay, and zoom in a bit. Okay, so as usual, I'm using custom infantry for the regular infantry, and the bases on these ones are pretty good, so they'll stand up really well. This is Caesar Miniatures. I showed you these the other day on the Combat Miniatures website as well. That's where I got those. And then Militia, that's just the regular Axis and Allies guy with the chip glued on. And there's the Mountain Infantry that I showed you. I forgot to put this guy in there. There we go. So there's the Mountain Infantry that I showed you from the base set. And these guys here, this is the World War I piece. And as with all the other nations, I'm using the World War I piece for the Marines. And then you've seen the airborne there. But what I did, I got a few sets of those, and so there was extra airborne. I'm talking about the Allied sets, right? I got them for the Americans and for the British. And so I had extra pieces. And so I was able to paint up some airborne out of those ones. Yeah, that's where I got those. And then moving on, this is, I think this is from the neutrals, the armored car, because I got a lot of extra neutrals as well, and that's where I took some of the pieces from. And then the cavalry's from the base set. Here, let me just show you the roundels before we move on. See, I got these roundels, and you're going to need these two roundels here. Like, I've got the French roundel as well from the Global 40 game. But these roundels you're going to need, because if Germany creates a Vichy France government, then you're going to be rolling for the French to see what happens with the territories. Every single territory and every unit on the board for France, you're going to roll to see if they become Free French or if they become Vichy, right? So you're going to need a way to mark those. So you either need these nice roundels or you need the cardboard ones. And I've got these for colonial infantry, like the Commonwealth I was saying. You just take an infantry and you put it on one of these chips, and it's got to go on a territory that has a point value. So like Morocco here is worth 1. This one, I couldn't put it here because he's not worth anything. And they work just like a regular infantry, just exactly the same. Okay, and what else? Okay, so here we've got the motorized infantry, and I'm just using a Polish truck from the neutrals, the neutral set of stuff that you get. And then this is from Axis and Allies. I'm not going to give you the name of all these pieces because they're all the Russian ones. So if you want to know the name of them, either just look on the website in the piece section, or go back to my Russian video and check out the names of them. But this has got half tracks on it, and so this is what we're using for mechanized. I don't have any advanced mechanized for them. I'm going to see if I need anything. Like one thing that I could do here, let me just grab a chip over here. One thing I could do for now is if I do happen to develop mechanized infantry, I can just put them on one of these damage chips that I have. And so, okay, that's advanced mechanized infantry, right? And then I will see, okay, I'm going to need some of those, right? So then I will find an option for that. Like I can get somebody else's sculpted, painted blue. But I don't know that I'm going to be developing a lot of weapons as the French. I'm going to have to play this game a number of times to find out exactly what I'm going to need for these guys, because I just don't know. So that's what I'll do for that, and also for heavy bombers. Like, I don't have a heavy bomber, so I'll just put a bomber on a sculpt if I or on a chip if I happen to develop heavy bombers, and then I'll know, okay, you know what, I should get myself some heavy bombers. I can get some of those nice British ones or something and paint them blue. Excuse me. Okay, so moving down to the artillery class here. Let's just move this over here. Set the camera up. Okay, so this is the artillery that you get for the neutrals, and I've painted those up. I do believe that you can get them in blue if they are in stock, though. If the blue sets are in stock, so you can get those either 5 at a time, or you can get them in the sets. I had a bunch of sets, so I just painted a bunch of them up. And then you got your regular artillery, so I can use these for normal artillery and use these for heavy artillery. But what I think I'll do, and I was saying this earlier, I can't remember who it was for. Somebody else anyway, one of the other nations. I think I'm just going to use the normal artillery out of Axis and Allies for regular artillery, and then if I happen to develop heavy artillery, I will replace these pieces on the board with these pieces, and then these will become my heavy artillery. So but because I don't think that you're going to develop heavy artillery every game, or even very often with the French, right? And this is just the anti-aircraft gun that you get out of box in Axis and Allies. And this is the self-propelled artillery. That's just left over from one of the sets, one of the Allied sets. And I painted that blue. And then this is the armor class. So let's move this back a little bit. Okay, we just have the light tank is it's just a light tank from, I believe that's just from the neutrals. But I had lots of light tanks left over between all the sets that I bought, neutral sets and the Allied sets. So either one, it would be a good option for you. And then this is just the medium tank. This is the regular tank that you get out of box in Axis and Allies. And then this is a 3D printed one. This is the ARL 44. That's a pretty nice one. I've had this one for a long time. This is the heavy tank. I've had this one for a long time because I had a heavy tank rule in Axis and Allies, and in my rule, my house rule, everybody started with a heavy tank. So I've only got one of them. I don't know if France will be developing a lot of weapons, but if they do, this will become a heavy tank until I can get some more of those, some more of these ones here, you know. But I will find out as I play this game what I'm going to need, right? Okay, so let's move around here and take a look at the ships. Okay, so the ships, those are just the Axis and Allied ships, most of them, right? The battleship and the carrier. The light carrier, that's one of those Casablanca air escort carriers. You can buy those in blue, or you can do what I did there. You could just paint them up from the other ones. But like I was showing you there in that sale bin, you can get them in blue. You can get a whole set of stuff. And that's probably good enough, you know, because I don't think you're going to need a full set like you have with everybody else. You know, you're not going to need 10 light tanks and 10 this and 10 that, right? Like, I just don't think you're going to need that many. So 2 of these is probably good enough, and you might not even use them, right? And then the other ones, these are all from Axis and Allies. You got your cruiser, your destroyer, your sub, and your transport. And then again for coastal subs and coastal subs and torpedo boat destroyer, I'm using these, and I didn't even have to paint these. Like, these are the French pieces from 1914. So like not even all the, I showed you the Japanese, you can use Italians. When for the French, or you can actually just use the French pieces. The reason you couldn't, like the Japan isn't in the 1914 game, so there was no sculpt to use for them. But anyway, the French you don't even have to paint, and there's only one of each, right? So if you buy them from the base set, then you're going to have to get 5 of each of them. But these are pretty cheap, I guess, and if you have the 1914 game, you can just pull one of each of them out. They give you too many to play that game anyway. You don't buy a whole lot of boats in that game. You kind of use the boats that you have. The Americans, of course, you buy boats, but everybody else, you're good enough with what you have. Maybe you buy 1 or 2 boats in that game, but mostly it's a ground war. So what else we got? Oh, we skipped over the planes, didn't we? And the factories. So the factories, I'm using from the base set, the major and the minor factory, and I'm using the Eiffel Tower. They do have the other piece, the Arc de Triomphe as well. So when Paris falls in this game, you can set up a government somewhere else. So I think I'll just take that Arc de Triomphe and put it where I am going to move my capital to. I think they give you 3 options. One of them is Belgian Congo, the other one's London. And let's just take a look at the card here. So here's the card. London, Belgian Congo, or Algeria. So you can move them to one of those places. Anyway, I'll just use the Arc de Triomphe to mark my capital like that. And it depends on the game, like what's going on in the game, for where you want to move your capital to, right? And that's where you'll be putting the bulk of your units on after that. Not all of them, but the bulk of them, I guess, because you're not going to have much money as the French. It depends on how it rolls out, right? So onto the aircraft. These are just that's the I think it's a Yak-3. It's the Russian. These are Russian planes, right? All 3 of the Axis and Allies ones. They're all Russian planes. For the fighter, the tactical bomber, and the strategic bomber. And then this is the medium bomber from the Allied set. And then this is the medium bomber from the neutrals. And I'm using the medium bomber from the neutrals as a transport plane, because most of the transport planes look much like this, and it's just a sculpt, right? Like, I'm not going to confuse this with the medium bomber for the French. I know that this one is. And again, I didn't paint up a whole lot of these ones. I've only got 1 of these ones. I'll see if I need another one, then I'll borrow one from somebody else and put a French roundel under it. And then I'll know, okay, I need more French pieces, right? But I'm just guessing that I don't need very many of them. And so I'm going to go with that. And I'll let you know, like down the road, if when I'm playing, geez, you know what, I ran out of French pieces, you're going to need more than what I told you back in that video. Anyway, so that's basically it. There's not much to talk about with the French. You just use your Axis and Allies pieces, and you get a few more, and it's just a guess as to how many you're going to need. Maybe somebody that's played the game a lot can comment in the comment section and let us know how many pieces you're going to need as the French. Like, do you buy a lot? I've only seen a couple videos online, and it seemed to me that they weren't buying a lot. They were buying quite a few dudes because after you lose your capital, you don't have much money. So buying dudes is one of the few things that you can do. Plus, you lose a lot of factories, right? So you can buy those colonial infantry and militia, and you can put those on territories that you own, and you don't need a factory for that. Anyway, so that is the French. So I think it's the Italians next, I believe. Anyway, I'll get to uploading this and get started on the Italians. Take care, everyone. General Hand Grenade out.